Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to do a quick video. The other day I was working on a process and I stopped what I was doing before I got really into it and decided to film it because I figured it would be really helpful to share with you guys. It's how to create an old world style look on a piece of furniture using wax. I used a dark wax and a clear wax to achieve this look. Waxing is not difficult. However, it takes a lot of time, and that's probably one of the reasons I don't do it. That, and it's kind of outside my comfort zone because it takes a lot to kind of give it that old style look, and it's just not something I do very often. So I thought I would share it with you guys today and you can see how it comes.
So today's video is sponsored by Fusion Mineral Paint, and we're going to be using their aging wax and their Hills of Tuscany clear wax.
So for the video, these are the only things you're going to need. For one, I used the Fusion Aging Wax, which is a really beautiful color. It's not black and it's not brown. It's a really deep, dark, rich in between a black and a brown. And then I used their clear wax. This one is in the Hills of Tuscany, so not only is it functional, but it smells delicious. I have one wax brush for the clear and I have one for the dark. I do suggest you have two different application methods for each wax. It just makes the process a little easier. And then I have my white rags to be able to blend and wipe in.
All right, so what we're going to start with today is the aging wax. I like to go ahead because Fusion has a top coat already built into their paint. You don't necessarily need to have it top coated to go ahead and wax. You can, but being that it does have a top coat in it, it's not a requirement. So I'm just going to go ahead in circular motions and start buffing on my aging wax. Now you will see that it does kind of stick and it looks like it's not as easy to blend. That's when our clear wax is going to go ahead and come in handy. So what I'm going to do right now is it's a lot of putting on and buffing off. For me personally, I don't want this so heavily waxed. I just want it to have that really nice old world style where it doesn't appear like it's dirty or like farmhouse, but it has depth and range to it. Best piece of advice I can offer you is work in sections. So you see here, I'm starting with one of the drawers. Don't mind that. I just got a little bit of one of the brush hairs stuck in there, so I was getting it out. But work in sections. I like to work in one drawer at a time. It makes things a lot easier and less overwhelming. As you continue to watch this process, you'll see that's why I said it's not difficult, it's just time consuming. It's all about a look, and so everybody will have their own preference about how much product they want on there and how much they don't want on there. So for me personally, it's just one of those creative things that I keep going back and forth, looking and seeing what I like, what I don't like about it. And right now I'm only concentrating on working with my dark wax. I will come in later and work with the clear wax and really starts to take shape at that point. We are still on one drawer. Yes, I know. It does take a little bit of time, as I've mentioned more than once. But in order to get the look right and the way that I keep stepping back. So you're seeing me stop, I'm stepping back off camera, I'm taking a look, I'm seeing what it is that I like and don't like about it, and knowing that I am ready to either move on or continue working on the same drawer. So what I'm doing right now is standing back and looking at it, thinking, do I have enough product on or do I need to add more? I do finally decide at this point that I believe that I have enough of the aging wax on there. Now keep in mind, this is nowhere near finished. So yes, it looks a little splotchy in certain areas, but we're going to take care of that soon. Like I said, in order not to get overwhelmed, what I like to do is work in sections as well, work with one wax first, and then move on to the clear wax to really buff it in and finalize my look. So I'm ready to go ahead and start on the next drawer. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on down the drawers, and I'm going to repeat the process exactly the same. I am applying a little bit heavier on the edges, and at the same time I am hitting that straight edge as well. I'm wiping back my aging wax as I go because if I let it sit too terribly long, it gets a little bit harder to work. This way I can continue to layer it and decide what look I like. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the process just a little bit because it's so repetitive. I'm going to keep on working on the drawers, and as you can see, it wasn't enough, so I'm going back on my first drawer and adding more layers. So as we go through this a little bit faster, I'll stop in just a minute and kind of show you where I landed. All right, so at this point I've got almost all the drawers done. I have one more left to do, and that's the bottom drawer, and then I have to do the legs and the sides as well. I usually like to start up front because that is what you see right when you look at a piece. I'm really happy with the way this is looking. So once I go ahead and finish off this fourth drawer, then I will go ahead and move to the sides and the top, and then I will go in with my clear wax. At this point, I haven't gone in with any clear wax, and as you can see on the outer edges, it needs to be blended. It needs to be softened up a little bit. But what I have achieved so far with the aging wax, I'm really loving. All right, so as we attack this very last drawer, I've loaded up my brush with all kinds of aging wax. And as you can see, there's no particular process for putting it on. It's just getting it on. I've got quite a bit of aging wax on my brush loaded up, and there I go dipping in for more. So I'm just putting it in concentrated areas where I want it to be. Where I don't want it to be, I'm not too terribly concerned because I'm going to come back with that clear wax, which acts as an eraser. It really acts as an eraser, you guys. It really works great. So if I get a spot or a dot where I don't want it, then I'm just going to go back with my clear wax and take it off. And now I'm going to go ahead and wipe back like I was doing earlier. I prefer to use microfiber cloths. They seem to really work well, not only not depositing any lint or anything on there, but they glide really well. So I tend to use microfiber cloths to wipe on both the aging and the clear wax once I'm ready to start buffing it. So here we're at the end of the first stage, which is the aging wax, and it's pretty crazy. I myself am not a fan, but once I introduce the clear wax and we start to really buff it out, you're going to see how this takes shape. And see, I did get a spot there, but we're going to erase that with the clear wax.
So what I'm going to use now is Fusion's clear wax, and what I've gone ahead and done is got a different rag, and I just dip in with that. And actually this one is their Hills of Tuscany. It smells so good if you haven't smelled it. But I'm just going to dip in with my clear wax, and I'm going to go into the areas where I want to remove and blend some of that darker wax. Watch on camera how it acts as an eraser. I mean, look, right? You can totally see where I've removed the wax, like right in here. So I'm just gonna keep going with the wax that I have on my rag, and I'm just gonna keep going in circular motions. And I'm doing circular motions when I'm rubbing it off because I kind of want that look to be more highlighted in the center with no wax and more dark here along the edge with more wax. Now look, I have not gone back in and dipped into my wax, and I am still taking some off. So you just keep going and going and going. The thing with waxing is patience, because you have to do a lot of the buffing, okay? So I'm gonna go back in, and just so you can see, I don't have a ton of wax on there. I'm not really getting a lot of product. A little bit goes a long way. So I'm just gonna keep working the same areas until I like where I've softened up my edge. So see, now it's not as harsh. And I am getting some weird reflection right in here, but I will turn the camera on straight so you guys can see. But I'm just gonna keep working to erase where I do not want that dark wax as concentrated. It's still getting left behind, but it's just not as concentrated. I'm able to erase with my clear wax my harsh lines and do a little bit better blending. And so that is what I'm gonna keep on doing until I achieve the look that I want. Now what I do is I step back, take a look at it, go back. Sometimes I have to add more dark wax. It just depends. You just keep going until you achieve a look. Know with this look, it's very imperfect. So you're not gonna get that same look that like I normally get from all my clean, simple lines, right? It's just not gonna be that way. So you have to learn how to adapt to the imperfection that this look gives a piece.
All right, guys, here it is, the final project reveal. I am super happy with the way it came out, and more importantly, the client loved it. It gave it that beautiful old world style, and although it was a lot of work, it was a lot of fun.
Guys, that is it. We are at the end of the video. As I mentioned, it's not super difficult to do this, but you do have to make sure you have the time. I spend more time on projects like this trying to get an imperfect look than I do trying to get a perfect look. So a lot of it is stepping back, looking at your work, evaluating if you like the look or not. And a lot of it is just a personal preference as to how it's looking to you. What might be too heavy for me might be perfect for you. So I suggest you just kind of play around with the look. That's where the clear wax comes in so handy, because it really does act as though it's an eraser. Not only are you adding additional protection to your piece with the clear wax, but it's allowing you to take down if you've put on too much. I hope that you found this video helpful today. Thank you so much for being subscribers. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the post notification bell so you know when all of my latest videos are released. Also, it helps support my YouTube channel and keep me going. If you guys have any positive comments or questions, please leave them down below. I always love engaging with you guys, and I'll answer your questions always. Thank you again, and I'll catch you on the next video.